All right, let's dive in. Today we're looking at something pretty cool, the idea of justice, but not like, in a courtroom.
Right.
More like how it plays out in water alchemy.
Right.
So we're mainly using this excerpt from Justice, finding balance and truth in water alchemy.
Okay.
Quick heads up, this deep dive kind of assumes you've got the basics of tarot and water alchemy down already.
Right. Right.
So no need to rehash all that.
Yeah, we can jump right in.
It's interesting, though, right, how a concept like justice, something we usually think of with laws and fairness, can be applied to something like water alchemy.
Yeah, it definitely broadens our understanding of both, I think.
For sure. It's not the first connection that pops into your head.
Right.
Now, the source jumps right into the justice card.
Okay.
That, classic image, the figure with the scales and the sword.
Yeah.
And it spends a good chunk of time breaking down all the symbolism.
Mm.
Like, you've got the scales for balance, the sword representing truth, and then those pillars, they symbolize structure and duality.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty easy to see how those ideas link up with justice, but how do they connect specifically to water alchemy?
Well, you got to think about water itself.
Right.
It's always searching for that balance, flowing, changing, purifying itself.
Uh-huh.
Water alchemy is all about working with that energy, harnessing it to transform yourself and grow spiritually.
Yeah.
So when we bring in the justice card and all its symbolism, it's like adding this extra layer of intention to the practice.
Right.
We're not just messing around with water. We're tapping into those principles of balance, truth, and being mindful of what we're doing.
So water alchemy uses water for growth, personal growth.
Oh.
I mean, and the justice card gives us a framework for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like using the principles of justice to, steer our intentions and actions.
Yeah.
It almost feels like there are like universal laws in play,
Mhm.
like karma connecting what we do to what happens because of it.
Yeah, that's in line with what the source is getting at. It talks about water acting like a mirror.
Okay.
It reflects, not just what's around us, but also our inner state.
Interesting.
So in water alchemy, when we're aiming for balance and truth, it's kind of like we're also trying to create harmony inside ourselves and out in the world.
Right.
Every action has a ripple effect.
Yeah.
And water alchemy, with those justice principles guiding it, helps us become more aware of those ripples, how they impact things.
Gotcha. I'm starting to get how these ideas all tie together.
Yeah.
Now, the source mentions using tarot, specifically the justice card, as like a tool for water alchemists.
Right.
It's not just thinking about the symbols, it's actually working with them.
Yeah.
Can you explain that a bit more?
Sure. So it's about using the justice card as a focus point when you meditate, reflect, or set intentions.
Okay.
The card helps us dig into questions of harmony and accountability in our practice.
Mm-hmm.
For example, say you're doing a water alchemy ritual for healing. The justice card might make you think, are my actions really in line with what's best for everyone involved?
Right.
Am I being fair and balanced? Am I being truthful with myself and others? Those kinds of things.
So bringing those core justice principles into every part of our water alchemy practice.
Exactly.
Making sure our intentions and actions are on the same page.
Yeah.
The excerpt then mentions 3 specific water alchemy practices. Let me see if I can remember them. Water clarity rituals, balance practices, and truth-seeking.
Right.
Can we dig into those a little deeper?
Absolutely, yeah.
Each uses water in its own way to cultivate balance, truth, and personal growth. They each give us a hands-on way to use justice principles in water alchemy.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
That's what I was hoping for, something practical for our listeners to actually try.
Of course, yeah.
But before we unpack them completely, can you give us a bit more context? Like, what do they involve and what makes them so powerful?
Sure. Water clarity rituals, those are all about using water for meditation and reflection.
Okay.
And I think about how peaceful it can be to just sit by a lake or listen to the rain.
Yeah.
Water has this incredible ability to calm your mind and help you connect with your intuition.
Right.
So with water clarity rituals, we're using water to quiet all those thoughts swirling around and access those deeper levels of awareness.
Makes sense. What about the balance practices? How do those fit in with justice?
Well, like we talked about, balance is a core principle of justice, right?
Right.
In balance practices, we might actually create a physical representation of balance using things like water, stones, or candles.
Oh, okay.
Could be something as simple as putting a bowl of water on a scale and while you're meditating, thinking about bringing more balance into your life.
I like that.
Or it could be a more involved ritual where you make a mandala with different natural elements to, symbolize the harmony you're looking for.
Yeah. I'm picturing that bowl of water on the scale. It's a really powerful image, like a tangible reminder of the balance we're trying to achieve. And then there's truth-seeking. What kind of water alchemy techniques are used for that? I'm really curious about this one.
Truth-seeking practices are all about using water to uncover hidden truths and get clarity on important questions.
Okay.
Might involve things like water scrying, where you gaze into a bowl of water to receive intuitive insights.
Right.
Or you could use water as a way to do divination,
Yeah.
asking questions and observing the patterns that show up.
Mm.
Sometimes even just being near water, like a flowing river, can help you connect with your inner wisdom and get guidance.
I see how each of these practices links up with the Justice Card principles. Water clarity rituals help us connect with our inner truth.
Yeah.
Balance practices encourage us to create harmony in ourselves and the world. And truth-seeking practices give us a way to access deeper wisdom and guidance.
Exactly. And within each of these practices, we can use the Justice Card as a focal point for our meditation, reflection, and intention setting.
Right.
It's like weaving those justice principles into the very essence of our water alchemy practice.
This is all so fascinating.
Yeah, it's a rich topic.
I'm eager to learn more about how to actually do these practices, but before we get into those specifics, maybe we can shift gears a little bit and talk about the benefits of bringing those justice principles into water alchemy.
Okay, yeah.
What tangible changes might someone see in their life by doing this work?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
The source emphasizes 3 key benefits that really align with the symbolism of the Justice Card.
Okay.
The first one is alignment with truth.
Right.
The Justice Card reminds us to connect with our inner wisdom and make sure our actions match our values. It's about living authentically, making choices that resonate with our true selves.
So it's like the Justice Card is this guidepost helping us stay on track and make sure we're not just talking the talk, but walking the walk.
Exactly, yeah.
I like that.
The second benefit is harmonizing energy.
Okay.
Water is known for its ability to cleanse and restore balance. And working with the principles of justice can actually make that even stronger.
Uh-huh.
By using the Justice Card in our practice, we can create more harmony within ourselves and in how we interact with the world around us. It's about bringing that sense of balance we see in nature into our own lives.
You know, it makes me wonder, if water naturally seeks equilibrium, are we, in a way, just mirroring that when we use it in our practice?
That's a really interesting observation. And yeah, you're right. We're aligning ourselves with the natural properties of water when we use it for healing, cleansing, and transformation. We're tapping into its natural ability to restore balance and flow.
I'm really starting to see the deeper connections here. Okay, so we have alignment with truth and harmonizing energy. What's the third benefit the source mentions?
The third one is accountability.
Okay.
The Justice Card reminds us that every action has a consequence. Every ripple we create in the waters of life affects the whole. It encourages us to take responsibility for our choices and think about the impact we have on others.
That's so important.
Yeah.
It's about being mindful of what we do, recognizing that we're all connected. It's not just about personal growth. It's about making the world a more just and harmonious place.
Right.
So we've talked about these water alchemy practices in a general way, but are there any specific examples from the source that our listeners could try? You know, something tangible.
Absolutely. The source talks about 3 specific practices: the water balancing ritual, truth reflection, and the purification ceremony.
Okay.
These are all really interesting techniques that use water as a tool for introspection and transformation.
Awesome. I'm ready to unpack these.
Let's do it.
Let's start with the water balancing ritual. What exactly does that involve?
It's a simple practice, but powerful. You take a small bowl of water and place it on one side of a scale. Then, as you meditate, you focus on bringing balance to the areas of your life that feel off-kilter.
Right.
It could be your work-life balance, your relationships, even your emotional state.
So it's almost like visualizing using the scales as a real-world representation of the balance you're after.
Exactly. The scales act as a visual reminder that for every action, there is a reaction. You're looking for that point of equilibrium.
Wow, that's a cool idea. I can see how that would make it even more powerful. Okay, what about truth reflection? How does that one work?
For this one, you need a clear glass of water.
Got it.
The idea is to gaze into the water and ask yourself questions about your truth, your values, and whether your choices align with those things. It's a way of using the water as a mirror to reflect on what's going on inside you and gain deeper self-awareness.
It sounds like a great way to get clarity on those big life questions or when you're feeling lost or unsure.
Exactly. And remember, water has this incredible ability to cleanse and purify, not just physically, but energetically too.
Yeah.
So as you look into the water, imagine it washing away any limiting beliefs, doubts, or fears that might be clouding your judgment.
That's a beautiful image. Okay, last but not least, tell us about the purification ceremony.
This practice involves using flowing water,
Yeah.
like a river, a stream, or even a shower, to cleanse yourself of negative energy or any stagnant energy that might be holding you back.
Okay.
It's about surrendering to the flow of the water and letting it wash away anything that's no longer serving you.
That's a powerful visual, allowing the water to carry away anything that's no longer needed, like a symbolic baptism, a fresh start.
Exactly. And the source emphasizes that this practice isn't just about getting rid of the bad stuff, but also about restoring balance and clarity.
Right.
It's about using the power of water to purify and renew, both physically and energetically.
These are some amazing practices.
Yeah, there.
I can already see how using them in a water alchemy practice, along with the principles of the Justice card, could be really transformative.
Definitely.
But you know what? Before we get any further, let's take a break here and come back for part 2 to explore more.
Sounds good.
Welcome back. In part 1, we were looking at water alchemy from the perspective of the Justice card.
Right.
It's been really interesting to see how these ideas come together.
Yeah.
We talked about what the Justice card symbolizes, those core principles of balance, truth, and accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And we even touched on some specific practices like the water balancing ritual, truth reflection, and the purification ceremony.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Before we get into the specifics of those, I'd love to hear your take on the potential benefits of actually using justice principles in water alchemy. Like, what tangible changes might someone experience in their life by doing this work?
You know, it's fascinating. The benefits kind of mirror those core symbols of the Justice card.
Okay.
For instance, one of the main benefits this source talks about is aligning with truth.
Right.
The Justice card encourages us to tap into that inner wisdom and make sure the way we're acting matches up with our values.
Uh-huh.
It's about living authentically, making choices that really resonate with who we are at our core.
That really clicks with me. It's like using the Justice card to make sure we're practicing what we preach, so to speak. So alignment with truth, that's one. What else does the source point out?
Another benefit is harmonizing energy. We all know water has this amazing ability to cleanse and restore balance.
Yeah.
And by bringing those justice principles into the mix, we can actually amp up that power.
Oh, interesting.
By working with the Justice card in our water alchemy practice, we can create more harmony within ourselves and in how we interact with everything around us. It's like bringing that sense of equilibrium we see in nature right into our own lives.
It makes me think about how water naturally seeks that balance, you know? It's always finding its level, flowing around obstacles.
Right.
It's almost like through water alchemy, we're aligning ourselves with that inherent quality of water, using it for healing, cleansing, and transformation.
Yeah, that's a great point. It speaks to the power of working with those natural forces. We're not forcing our will on the water. We're working with its energy to create positive change.
Okay, so alignment with truth, harmonizing energy. What's that third benefit the source mentions?
The third benefit is accountability.
Okay.
The Justice card reminds us that every action has a consequence.
Right.
Every ripple we create in life affects the whole. It encourages us to take responsibility for our choices and really consider the impact we have on others.
That's such a powerful reminder. It's not just about our own personal growth. It's about contributing to a more just and harmonious world. We're all interconnected, and our actions have these far-reaching consequences. Now, we've talked about these water alchemy practices in a general sense, but I'm sure our listeners are eager to hear about some specific examples they can actually try out.
Of course.
Does the source offer any tangible practices?
Absolutely. It mentions 3 specific practices: the water balancing ritual, truth reflection, and the purification ceremony. Each of these uses water in its own unique way to cultivate balance, truth, and personal growth.
Perfect. Let's break those down, starting with the water balancing ritual. What does that one actually involve?
This practice is incredibly simple, but really profound. You just take a small bowl of water and put it on one side of a scale.
Okay.
As you meditate, you focus on bringing balance to any areas of your life that feel out of whack. It could be your work-life balance, your relationships, your emotional state, anything that feels out of equilibrium.
It's like using the scales as a physical representation of that balance you're seeking. Such a clever way to bring that abstract concept into a tangible form. Does the source say anything specific about what to focus on during the meditation?
Yeah, it suggests focusing on the actual feeling of balance. Like, what does it feel like to be in harmony?
Right.
What areas of your life need more attention? You can even try adding or removing little objects from the other side of the scale as you're thinking about these things.
I love that. It makes the practice feel more interactive and personal. Okay, let's move on to the next practice, truth reflection. How does that one work?
For truth reflection, you'll need a clear glass of water.
Okay.
The idea is to gaze into the water and ask yourself questions about your truth, your values, and if your choices are really lining up with those things, you're basically using the water as a mirror to reflect on what's happening inside and get a deeper understanding of yourself.
It sounds like a really powerful way to get some clarity on those big life questions or when you're feeling lost or unsure of yourself. Does the source give any examples of the types of questions you might ask?
It suggests asking open-ended questions that encourage introspection. Things like, what's my truth in this situation?
Right.
What are my core values?
Mm-hmm.
Are my actions really a reflection of my true self?
Yeah.
The key is to be open to whatever insights bubble up from your subconscious.
That's so fascinating. It's like using the water to tap into a deeper level of wisdom and guidance. Okay, finally, tell us about the purification ceremony. This one's really intriguing.
The purification ceremony is all about using flowing water, could be a river, a stream, even just your shower to cleanse yourself of any negative energy. The idea is to surrender to the flow of the water and let it wash away anything that's no longer serving you.
Limiting beliefs.
Past hurts, negative thought patterns, anything that's holding you back.
It's like a symbolic baptism, you know? A way to start fresh and let go of what's weighing you down. That's such a powerful image. Does the source give any specific instructions for how to do this ceremony?
It really emphasizes the importance of intention. As you're standing under the water, visualize it, carrying away anything you want to release. You
Yeah.
can even say your intentions out loud, affirming your desire to cleanse and renew yourself.
I can see how each of these practices, the water balancing ritual, truth reflection, and the purification ceremony, aligns with the ideas behind the justice card.
Right.
The water balancing ritual helps us find harmony and balance. Truth reflection encourages us to connect with our inner truth and make choices that align with our values. And the purification ceremony allows us to let go of negativity and start fresh. It's incredible how water can be used in so many ways for personal transformation.
It really speaks to the power of water as a tool for spiritual growth and its versatility. And when we combine that with the principles of the Justice Card, we create this potent synergy that can really help us make significant shifts in our lives.
This has been such an enlightening conversation. I'm seeing both water alchemy and the Justice Card in a whole new light now.
I'm glad to hear that.
It's making me rethink my own approach to personal growth and how I can use these principles in my daily life.
It's a good reminder that transformation doesn't have to be this big, complicated thing.
Right.
Sometimes the simplest practices can have the most profound impact.
Absolutely. And speaking of simple yet profound, these three practices are just a glimpse into what water alchemy has to offer.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We've only just scratched the surface. I'm already feeling inspired to learn more and experiment with these techniques.
That's the beauty of it. There's always more to explore, more to uncover. Water alchemy is a journey, not a destination.
That's such a great way to put it. And what a perfect place to pause for part 2 of our deep dive. We'll be back soon to delve even deeper into this fascinating topic. Welcome back to our deep dive into water alchemy and the concept of justice. It's been really amazing to explore how these ideas kind of intertwine.
It has.
We've talked about the symbolism of the justice card, the core principles of balance, truth, and accountability.
Right.
We even explored those specific water alchemy practices like the water balancing ritual, truth reflection, and the purification ceremony. You know, what's striking to me about all this is how it changes how we view justice.
Yeah.
You often think of it as something external, something happening in courtrooms or through the legal system. But when we look at it through this lens of water alchemy,
Right.
we see that justice is an inner process too, a way of being in the world.
It's a way of being. Yeah, I agree with that.
It's like creating that alignment within ourselves first, then letting those ripples of balance and truth flow outward into how we interact and what we do. I'm starting to see how this idea of justice can really affect every part of our lives. It's not just about grand gestures. It's those small, everyday choices we make.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the heart of the justice card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Balance, truth, mindful action.
Yeah.
These principles can be like a guide as we move through all the complexities of life, helping us make choices that are good for us and everyone involved.
It's like we're not just watching life happen, but actively participating, shaping things with each choice we make.
Hmm.
Which reminds me of that ripple effect we talked about.
Oh, right.
Every action creates a ripple that spreads out, affecting everything. It really highlights how connected we all are and the responsibility we have to make positive change.
That's an important point.
Mm.
It underscores how crucial it is to be conscious and intentional with our actions.
Mm.
If every ripple has an effect, then every choice we make becomes an opportunity to create a more just and harmonious world.
This deep dive has really opened my eyes to the possibilities of water alchemy,
Yeah.
especially when combined with what the Justice card represents.
Hmm.
It's made me realize that personal growth isn't just an individual thing, it's connected to the well-being of everyone.
It's all connected. It's a beautiful reminder that when we strive for balance and harmony within, we're also making the world a more just and compassionate place.
Absolutely. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to leave our listeners with? Maybe a question for them to ponder as they go about their day?
You know, the source material gives us so much to consider, but I think a powerful question to ask, one that goes beyond the text itself, is this.
Okay.
How might understanding this concept of justice within water alchemy actually change the way you approach your everyday actions and decisions? What kind of ripples do you create in your own life and in the lives of those around you?
Wow, that's a really powerful question. It makes us think about the impact we have, not just in those big moments, but in those everyday interactions.
Right.
It's realizing that even the smallest act of kindness, the tiniest effort to create balance and harmony, can ripple out and affect so much more than just ourselves.
Exactly, because even a single drop of water can create a ripple that spreads, influencing the whole. And in a way, that's what water alchemy, guided by the principles of justice, is all about, recognizing our power to create positive change, drop by drop, ripple by ripple.
I love that. So to all our listeners, we encourage you to dive into the world of water alchemy,
Yes.
experiment with the practices we've talked about, and see how the ideas behind the Justice card can guide you on your personal growth journey. As you go about your day, remember those ripples,
Right.
choose wisely, act with integrity, and let your actions send a wave of positive change out into the world. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.